Jeff in Detroit. Hey, Jeff.
What up, though, fellas? Happy Thanksgiving to you. Hope you guys enjoy the holidays coming up. You guys really do deserve it. Got an I-team report from Little Caesars Arena, the throwdown in Motown, man. A friend of mine was lucky enough to be one of the police officers on the detail there. And they said after Isaiah Stewart left the court, if you look, he ran in a tunnel. He was trying to get out on the other side because there's two ways that you can enter the floor. Now, they had security personnel along with other police officers there inside the tunnel. And one of the security, well, I guess he was team personnel, told Isaiah, if you go back out on the court, because he was trying to get back out on the court, if you go back out on the court, you're going to cost yourself more than you have already cost yourself, and you'll alter your career. And that was one of the only reasons why the boy did not come back out. He was one of those guys that he just went crazy. And in my honest opinion, I don't believe that LeBron should be suspended. Well, maybe one game, but he was on one foot when he was going back, and Jalen Rose made a very good comment. He was falling backwards, and it was a basketball play. It wasn't intentional, and he immediately was contrite about it. I'm sorry, dude. And Isaiah Thomas, just like Bruce Lee, tasted that blood and went crazy. You guys take it easy. Have a good one, Doc.
Hey, Jeff, before you go, what's the police jurisdiction when you have something like that? What role does
What happens is this. This is what happens. You get assigned a commanding officer over the entire event that has a bunch of police officers that get assigned downtown to that specific event. So every time that there's a Pistons game downtown at Little Caesars Arena, it's like maybe about 10 to 12 cops. The lucky ones get on the court, go in the tunnel, and kind of interact with the players. So, they kind of pick the older ones with a little bit of time on the job. And they have complete control of the entire arena as far as just the whole outside and inside of the arena. They coincide and work with the security personnel inside to make sure that everybody's safe. Also, I should add that real quick, due to the Malice in the Palace, they have a thing that tells people stay in their seats. And if you can hear the announcer when everything happened, the first person that would have got up would have got thrown out. And they just kind of reflect. I think that's why his fine was so hefty in that sense. Okay,
but if Isaiah Stewart would have run back out on the field, is this about security or is this about the police officers in what they're...
At that time, well, and this is what was explained to me, at the time that he was getting ready to go back out onto the floor, and if he would have engaged, he would have then been locked up because you're ejected from a game, and technically you're not allowed to be back on the floor in Little Caesars Arena, whether you're a player or not. You got ejected by the NBA. He would have then faced, it would have went way different. It would have went more of a criminal way. It would have went him trying to assault or attempt an assault opposed to just getting a slap on the wrist by the NBA, because now you're coming back out on the court, you're trying to fight him, and it just makes no sense because the NBA does not want that, especially on national televised game on Sunday.
But if once he's kicked off the floor, so then does he become a civilian if he wants to come back out on the floor?
Yes, it's kind of like it's kind of a gray matter. But if you get kicked out of a game, like he got ejected, at that point, all bets are off. If you come back out on the floor trying to incite, you're then looked at as, like you said, a regular civilian, and he would incur penalties of the Detroit Police Department and that of Little Caesars Arena because you were told not to come back out. You were ejected from the game. Now you're coming back out, inciting violence and trying to create a dust-up. At that point, you become a criminal. And, there's no two ways about it. They actually got a lockup facility, which I doubt he would have went to. But, it's one of those situations where he would have got slapped with a pretty hefty fine and probably, who knows? It's one of those things that, how the owner comes down and people would had to have talked about it. But in my opinion, if he would have stepped back out on the floor, he would have got locked up. And I know that for a fact. Because at that point, you're not a part of the game anymore. You've been sent to the locker room. Dude, stay in the locker room. But he's attempting to come back out and fight with LeBron James.
Happy Thanksgiving, Jeff. Thanks
a lot, man. To you and your families, happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, buddy. That's Jeff in Detroit. Good appearance by Jeff there, being the former police officer there in Detroit. Yes, he.
Got to credit you with the follow-up there. You're letting Jeff go, and then you're like, well, no, hold on a second.
Yeah, well, that's a journalist.
That's a journalist.
That's what I am.
Yeah.
I've been called a lot of things.
It was noticed.
Yes, I'm a journalist there. at heart. I hope. Hope I still am.